Yeah, 200, how are you? Awesome. You know what today is? Today is Mardi Gras Day. All right, it's awesome. It is March 5th, Tuesday, 2019. It's also the day that CT2 is due. So we look forward to reading it. You guys um, are not biologists for the most part, and yet it's clear from what we've been looking at so far that you guys have a total handle on it. So we're totally stoked at how well you guys are doing. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to launch into the next week assignment, and we're going to look at how everything is kind of linked together. All right, so um, we started by preparing you about some of the significant global issues in aging. We then went in and looked at our country and what are the kind of population trends and what that means sociologically, okay, as well as what that means in terms of kind of the economy, both the personal economy and the societal economy. And then we launched into some biology, okay, and we talked about aging and related it to things like cancer and diabetes, heart disease, and lastly, mental disease, and linked it to Alzheimer's disease. And we're done with the biology now, but it does prepare you for one of the assignments that's coming up soon, and that's your final paper, okay? So you're going to be asking an older person, and hopefully over spring break, it'll be one of your grandparents, and be asking them some very pointed question about their aging process, okay? And important in terms of the flow of this course is as we go through, the societal enormity and the costs of all these diseases of aging affecting older people. We've also talked about fertility, okay, and we've talked about how there's fewer of you guys around, more old people around, and that then launches us into this part of our course, which is starting today, okay, and that is looking at caregiving, okay. So we have this one reading assignment here this time, and it's put out by AARP, and within that reading assignment, there is a similar type of graph here, but it shows you again the baton that is being passed to you. I mean, I had to care for my mom. We're having to care for my father-in-law right now, okay? But what's happening is there's more of us baby boomers around, okay? And we're getting older and more dependent, okay? And we're going to be dependent on you, and there's fewer of you around. And that's what's shown on here, the number of caregivers per person needing care. So that's, in terms of the economy of our country and your personal, individual financial well-being and economy, it's significant. So you're going to have to pay for somebody to help potentially, okay, in terms of assisted living or in-home care, or because there's fewer of you around, you don't have enough siblings and things like that, then you're going to have to take time off work to take care of these things, okay? And you can see the projections right here. So this is discussed, in greater detail when we look at the reading assignment, okay? And it's coming up here slowly, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here, wait for it to load. And when we come down here, the quizzes, this week's quiz is taken from that reading assignment. Now, this particular week, the discussion completely complements the reading assignment. And we're going to be talking about caregiving issues, okay? So a big theme of this particular one is the diversity, and especially for those of you guys that are from Southern California, we'll see that there are different cultural differences in terms of how we handle caregiving, all right? Let me go back here and go back to this now that it's loaded. And alrighty, so throughout this article, they talk about long-term service and support, okay? And these are things that I'm going to need once I get older. As my arthritis creeps in, maybe I start having some cognitive problems, things like that. So this article goes through all this. Again, it highlights some of the numbers, okay, and we see this caregiver support ratio going down, okay. We see that in 2010 the support ratio was 7 caregivers for every person at risk plus 80. By 2030 it goes to 3 to 1. And this is an enormous burden on you guys, and it's something you have to prepare for. Okay. Alrighty. It goes through again lots and lots of statistics on this particular article. Okay. Thinking, things like this, where we see that more than 2/3 of Americans believe that they will be able to rely on their families for their long-term services and supports. Okay, so that means your parents are counting on you. Okay, and people that don't have children are counting on society to help them out. Okay, so these are all the predictions of this caregiver thing. So this is similar to the graph that I was showing over here, where we're looking at the caregiver support ratio. It's just compressed in a different way, but it's the same exact data. Okay, so we come back over here, and again, it shows you the change as my group gets older and what's happening in terms of the number of people that are going to be out there to take care of people like me. Okay. Population aging, okay, we see this, okay, and we see that that more and more older people. We've already discussed that with you guys. The big one is that because we've made such headway with diabetes, heart disease, cancer, all these things, so then we have people surviving, and then we see the diseases of survivors like Alzheimer's disease. So we see that there's going to be this gigantic increase in terms of millions of people over the age of 80 that are going to be right in your wheelhouse when you guys are having kids and trying to get your jobs intact, or keeping trying to rise in terms of your career, and it's going to be a big burden. Okay. Alrighty, so this is a really excellent article, and I just kind of quickly went through it. It's short reading, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages, and that's it. With lots of figures, so it should be pretty simple for you. Okay, alrighty. So then when we come down here and we look at the caregiving aspects, that again is culturally different. It's the U.S. society is very different than the rest of the world. The rest of the world, you actually will oftentimes have multi-generational families, and they all live in the same household. And this talks about this right here. Okay, we see that for example, Asian American caregivers are much less likely to use professional support. They're going to do it themselves, and oftentimes you'll have 4 generations living in the same family. I sure wish American society would go back that way. That way, grandma and grandpa can watch your kids while you go to work, and then the flip side is you help watch them later on. Okay, this goes through again differences in terms of ethnic minorities in caregiving, African Americans in caregiving. Okay, so it's a real simple 1-page article. We look at lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and they have their own personal caregiving, rural caregiving versus urban caregiving. So these are just one quick thing. You see that it's not much reading, and you're done for that assignment. Then you just quickly watch this video right here.
I have been doing
Discusses
some research with
some of these
in
cultural
America,
differences.
and
Okay, so then you come down here and you address these questions as we put it out here. Okay, what are you going to do about your family? Are your parents living alone? What do they expect? Okay, answer these questions in your discussion. Now, I'm going to wrap it up quickly here. One thing that I want you to do is when you're over here and you're looking at what's coming up next, and that's the final interview paper. Okay, you can use our questions. Okay, and if all you do is you click on this right here, and it takes you to this final writing assignment. Okay, and you can just scroll through this. Again, we have the rubric on the bottom. Okay, frequently asked questions, so you can go over that. But I think importantly, you have a huge opportunity with this elder that you're interviewing, if they are a family member, especially. Okay, I did this with my mom. My mom died a few years ago when she was 95, and I sat down with her many, many days, and I just took out my iPhone and I put it on video, and I sat there and talked to her about family history, and we went on for a couple of hours. I broke it up, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and it was invaluable because she takes all that information about who you are with her when she dies. And so I think this is a huge opportunity for you to sit there and interview your grandparents and tape them. Interview your parents, and tape them. To have this kind of archive for your kids and your grandkids will be amazing. My wife is really, really into ancestry.com, and we've got all these pictures that we follow her family back for close to 200 years. We have all kinds of artifacts from the family. It's amazing. But one thing we didn't get a chance to do is to sit down and do the videotaping of her mom, because her mom died. Julia's mom died of a sudden heart attack before Christmas, and yeah, it was tragic. She wasn't that old, and so take this opportunity, guys. Alrighty, so I want you guys to have a safe and sane spring break. Okay. Watch out for each other. Be careful with your alcohol intake. It does kind of mess with your reasoning. It messes with your kind of executive function, where you decide what it is we want. It messes with your decision making. So just be careful. Watch out for each other, and have a great time. We'll see you next time.